Today on Here for the Right Reasons, Bachelor in Paradise stars Chris Conran and Alana Milne give us an update on their romance and where they stand with their former cast members.
Oh, you know what? I regret going through that. I regret being humiliated and shamed publicly on national TV. But at the end of the day, I would do all that a million times over if I can end up with Alana again.
Plus, JP Rosenbaum has made a full recovery from Guillain-Barré syndrome as Tyler Cameron reveals his relationship status. And Bachelor in Paradise's Marissa reveals when she started to doubt her relationship with Riley. We've got that plus so much more on today's Here for the Right Reasons. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with the Us Weekly senior editor, Sarah Heron. Sarah, another big week of Bachelor news.
As always, you know, there's always a podcast for a Bachelor alum to be hosting or being interviewed on. You know, Tyler Cameron's on Ellen, so he's really stepping up the game.
It really is.
Always something to talk about.
Always. But before we get into the Bachelor news of the week, let's see what you guys had to say about last week's show.
Okay, so this is Hilda, and I assume she's talking about Kaylin and Dean because, you know, we got into that controversial their stance on marriage and what's really going on between the two of them. And she wrote, I believe they're already married, just a gut feeling.
Interesting. That would be plot twist. I mean, you know, I don't know. They do things that are very unconventional. So maybe they are secretly married, but I don't know. I feel like we know about it.
Yeah, they do wear rings. So I know that caused speculation at one point. I don't even know if they still wear those rings. I know they were wearing them a couple of years ago. I feel like with these two, they want to keep us guessing.
They do. And they certainly are. All right. Moving on to Elizabeth. She said they keep commenting on it because they keep being asked about it despite already answering multiple times. I think we're talking about Clayton and Susie and all this cheating drama because they were on a podcast last week saying, you know, this made them stronger than ever. But yeah, they're going to keep commenting on it because people keep asking about it. And that's what we do.
Yeah. That's our job.
That's our job. But yeah, it seems like they're still going strong.
The road trip continues. Love it.
It continues. It's the never-ending road trip. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our news of the week. And Marissa Gunn is slowly starting to open up about her broken engagement to Riley. She revealed things were over long before Bachelor in Paradise fans found out about their breakup. She said on the Almost Famous podcast, you guys saw me on the beach all the time, like breaking down, thinking he was not as into me as I was into him. I was all in, so in love from day one. And that's kind of where it started. Like that feeling that I had there in Paradise was kind of the feeling that just continued to go on. She added, I think to myself, you knew it right then and there, but you were just trying to like work through the circumstances and thinking like, oh, you're being a little nuts. Like he's so into you, especially when you see it on TV. Like he's not into anyone else doing anything, you know? And for me, the feeling still carried over throughout our whole relationship. So sad. They were like, we talked about it all last summer. I felt like their relationship was the strongest leaving the beach, but I guess that wasn't the case.
Yeah. I mean, Marissa said throughout that podcast, the big takeaway was like, she had a gut feeling that not that Riley was misleading her or cheating on her or anything, but that they were not each other's person and that it was, you know, not going to work. And she then tried to psych herself out of believing her gut and be like, why, like, look at this guy likes you so much. Like he's all over you. But she knew deep down that there was something, which she still hasn't really said what that something is, but there's something she kind of alluded to, maybe him being a little controlling and some stuff about how she moved for him and it wasn't reciprocated and you shouldn't have to make sacrifices or, you know, it's hard because she doesn't explicitly ever say it. But the big takeaway was her gut told her, you know, this wasn't her person. And then obviously I think you get swept up in that show too.
Yeah. Well, even I believe if I like remember correctly, like the day, like the morning of the engagements or something like that, he was still very much on the fence. And then he like played it off as a joke, but now looking back at it, probably wasn't joking around. He probably really did have some reservations. I
totally agree. And I remember interviewing them right after the finale aired and she said flat out, I didn't know he was going to propose. I just didn't want to be embarrassed. And I was like, I feel like this is something we should know.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. So sad. Well, like we said last week, maybe she'll be back in Paradise.
Maybe. Well, someone who I don't think is going to be in Paradise, but should be because they're single, Tyler Cameron revealed on the Ellen DeGeneres show that he is 100% single after those steamy pics with Kristen Cavallari. He said he wants someone whose smile is contagious and can light up a room. He added that how they are around the people around them is important to him. They respect the server, their parents, their friends. That's big for me. And she's got to be beautiful too.
Of course. I mean, well, he is beautiful. So I get it. I would, like you said, I would love to see him in Paradise, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think he's trying to move as far away from the Bachelor land as he possibly can be. But it is, I mean, crazy that he's on Ellen. I mean, he's managed to keep up this celebrity status, a pretty high celebrity status for quite some time after the show, never being a lead, always just the runner up.
And only on one show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impressive. Tyler Cameron, you and your abs are welcome here anytime. And I can't wait to see who he dates next. I know usually when he does, he tries to keep it on the DL, which was why it was so interesting and confusing when his last relationship, they finally started to open up and then they broke up shortly after that. So I don't know if that was related, like maybe the world being in on it, let things get a little hazy. I don't know, but I always love to see where Tyler's going next.
Always. I still think he and Kristen would make a really good couple, but
yeah, well,
I don't know about that.
I mean, it was a fun couple hours to speculate about those photos.
It was, yeah. Who knows if he wants all that, 3 kids baggage. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, somebody else who is back in the news is JP Rosenbaum, who we've spoke about recently. He was on Us Weekly's Here for the Right Reasons podcast. If you want to hear a full chat with him, but he also did an Instagram Q&A the other day. And if you guys don't remember, more than 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with a neurological disorder. And I know I'm going to butcher how you say it, but Guillain-Barré syndrome?
I think so. I think so. Sorry if we don't pronounce it correctly.
Yes. And when even when I interviewed JP, I was like, I don't even want to try. And he said it, but it was a couple weeks ago now, so I can't even remember. But he is happy and healthy, which is exciting. And he made a quote, full recovery during his Instagram Q&A. He wrote, "I was lucky to be diagnosed quickly and treated quickly. It limited the damage to my nerves. They were able to heal and make a full recovery." Now, this is a condition where the body's immune system mistakenly attacks the nervous system, causing paralysis and body weakness. He was diagnosed in December 2019. And I mean, he went from just being a normal functioning human to not being able to pick up his kids to having his brain was working, but his body wasn't doing what his brain was saying. So a wildly frustrating, crazy thing to go through.
So scary. I'm glad that he made a full recovery. And he said, during his Q&A, a lot of people don't have that capability to make the full recovery, but he was treated so early on, and luckily they caught it and were able to diagnose him and treat him. So such a scary thing, really is, but glad he's doing better.
Yeah.
All right. Let's head back to Paradise, because a couple that is still going strong are Kenny and Mari, and she is spilling some wedding details. She said on the Talking It Out podcast that while they haven't set a date yet, they are in the planning process. And she said that they agreed that they will get married in Puerto Rico. She said, "I have a lot of family there, my grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, and everyone. So we are all going to go there for the wedding. We have narrowed it down to 4 venues now, but we haven't gotten to see them all in person just yet. We've seen the pictures online though." I'm like, good for them.
Totally good for them. And you know what? If they are the first couple from that season to wed, it would be surprising, but also like good for them.
Yes.
And I think that there's something to be said for Bachelor couples who do make moves on the wedding. I know that in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't necessarily always make sense because it's such a quick process. But if you look at the success stories, a lot of the ones that are still married did get married like within the year of the show. So if these two are going strong, I cannot wait to see photos from a Puerto Rico wedding. I think Mari is beautiful. Kenny is beautiful. It's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be beautiful. I wonder if they'll have any boy band entertainment, since he is the boy band manager.
100%, Christina. Is that even a question? It's a matter of which cover band will perform when. That's what it is.
Cannot wait.
Well, staying in Paradise, last week on the podcast, I talked to Chris and Alana from Bachelor in Paradise. If you don't remember, they are the ones who were on the infamous San Diego cast trip with Jessenia, Tammy, Katie Thurston, the whole squad. And then they got to the beach and Chris was dating Jessenia on the beach, but he quickly saw Alana and they kind of picked up where they left off. And people were accusing them of pre-planning their relationship, of leaning Jessenia on. And they had a lot to say about how they are still together and about their relationship with their former co-stars. They always have denied from the moment that nothing happened in Mexico besides a friendship. And there was a bunch of people there, barely a friendship, they said. And, you know, their relationship is going strong, but the same cannot necessarily be said for their relationship with their former castmates. Here's what they had to say.
Do you have any resentment towards anyone who, you know, kind of was leading that charge that technically had nothing to do with your relationship, but was kind of running the beach? And I know you said you guys haven't heard from anyone. Do you hold grudges for that? Or are you like, whatever, they had power. It was a power struggle and they won.
Holding a grudge just hurts us. But I gave everyone like a couple weeks to apologize to me after it aired. And when it didn't, I just went ahead and blocked them everywhere. Cause it's like, the only control I have at this point is to like cut off their access to me to like be in control of the situation. And, you know, you forgive, but you don't forget. Like, I'll never have any of those people in my life in any capacity.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, and yeah, same.
Ditto. There were like wild accusations also that whole season just about like followers and screen time and who like asked, I think Joe made some comment, like someone asked him for tips on how to like be popular. And like, I would just, every time they talked about it, and it was funny because with Brennan and Piper, they specifically brought up Us Weekly and like a story that ran and like their follower counts. And I was like, oh God, we're involved now. Like, it was just like a wild thing. And I just always wonder, and I feel like this has to be the answer is yes. Everyone is talking about that in some degree in a way that I feel like Brendan and Piper, at least from what we saw as a viewer, and I don't know everything, it did feel a little manipulative, like we're here because we're going to be together and this is going to be great. But overall, the vibe on the beach or in San Diego or on a random meetup, wherever, there's got to be talk of all that stuff. People are exchanging numbers. Like I have to imagine, right? Because it is a business at the end of the day.
There is, but there also isn't. Like about that, what was said about me was completely made up. Like,
oh, that you and Jessenia talked about followers or something?
It didn't happen.
But
like, it's my word against hers, so it doesn't really matter, you know, and it happened months ago, but it's frustrating. It felt like in that moment that was said just to make me look even worse. Right. It was like, how many things can I say about this girl to make her look so bad that she like hopefully can't recover from this? Like, that was what I felt like she was trying to do on a dating show where we're all supposed to date each other.
Right.
We're going on TV, so clearly, like, we're all kind of into like being in the public eye.
Right. You're not mad about it. No one there is mad about being on TV.
Like, everyone there knows the things that come along with being on shows like this.
Yeah.
It's a happy side effect for a lot of people. Some people go on specifically for that reason. Not everyone. We didn't, but like some people do.
And I mean, you know, it was hard for me watching that back because hearing people talk about me and how I went on there for clout, how I went on there for this and that, and saying specific things. Because I remember one conversation, there was someone who brought up like, oh, Chris talked about followers and blah, blah, blah. It was because I do marketing for a living. Mm-hmm. And I help companies grow. I help companies scale, things like that. And so for me, and I also do PR as well. And so I was literally just giving someone advice on how to grow their following and what they can expect and things like that. And so to hear that be portrayed negatively against me really frustrated me. Because if you look at my social media, I haven't done a single paid ad. I'm not saying I never would.
Right.
But that's, you know.
It's not a bad thing, but they use something that they do to make a living to try and make Chris look bad.
Right. It's a little, a little pot meat kettle. I mean, why can't everyone sell it? Like, you tell me how much you made for that deal so I can try to make, like, I feel like you guys should all be joining forces. I was saying to Jason Tardik a couple of weeks ago, I was like, imagine these people who were just on the show for the next season of Paradise, the villain and the good girl, they both come together and they're like, I'm not going without her. And they just up that rate, like stronger together for sure, I think, in this whole thing.
But I think generally this show is about competition.
Right.
You know? Everyone wants to outlast the other. So unfortunately, there's not that support.
Yeah. I think it's also two different things. Like you're on the show for love and the followers are a bonus, or the followers are the bonus, or the love is the bonus and you want the followers. And I don't know if there's necessarily a right answer anymore because the way the show has changed so much, but I think either way, the both are okay.
You should be there for love, or at least like I went on Matt James season because I had been in lockdown in Canada for months in my apartment by myself, and I was going crazy. And I'm like, this is a good way for me to be around people and make new friends. And like, I didn't think that the likelihood that I would end up with him was super high.
Because math.
There's 35 people. I thought it might be a possibility. I was willing to feel it out, but I went because I wanted to make friends on the show. And like, I know that followers is a thing that comes with it and all of that kind of stuff, but it's never guaranteed. So it's not, I don't think it should ever be your reason to go. Yeah. Because I did walk away with some amazing friends that, will be in my life forever, but
they were not very well liked when they left the beach. Was it Grocery Store Joe that had a problem with that, or he had a problem with them, Brendan and Piper? Like, it was a whole big mess for a while.
It was Grocery Store Joe and Riley kind of together. I went back and watched the clip before I spoke to them because I wanted to familiarize myself, remember what happened. And Brendan and Piper kind of got off scot-free, at least on the beach, not so much obviously by the viewers, but on the beach because they had a lot of friends in Paradise. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. And, Chris and Alana explaining that, obviously they are bitter in some sense, but I agree with them in the degree of in the Bachelor hierarchy, they didn't go far in their respective seasons. Their close Bachelor friends don't have as much clout. It's not so easy to stand up to Grocery Store Joe, who has a Warner Brothers podcast, Riley, who's in a committed relationship on the show. I don't know if it's right or wrong or if it's just how the show works, but it makes sense to me that that's how they feel.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Not too happy. All right. Well, let's see who caught our attention on social media this week, which Bachelor stars. Mine, I'm still keep it in Paradise. Brendan and Piper forgot that they were still together.
I thought this was actually a very nice video.
It was. He's like doing her hair and, very lovey-dovey. But yeah, it just shows that they had all this controversy on the show as well. And they are still together and still going strong almost a year later.
Yeah, it's truly, it's wild, those two. And I feel like we haven't really gotten their quote unquote side of the story. And I don't know if it's just because there's nothing they can really say that's going to make it better. Right. Besides just blaming everybody does it. But yeah, that was such a wild thing to watch play out. And the fact that they're still together is really interesting.
It really is. It's part of me wonders, if they tried to stay together to save face for a while. And now they realize, oh, we kind of do like each other. So maybe that's how it is. But yeah, very interesting that they're still together.
My social moment was this Matt James reel that him and Rachel made. His book comes out next week, which I have had a chance to read. I can't say anything yet, but next week we'll be talking all about Matt's book and the little Bachelor revelations in there. But they made this cute video of her kind of mini interviewing him about the book. And the big takeaway I thought was one, because I can say this because he confirmed it. There is a little Claire Crowley mention in there. He kind of addresses for the first time some of the stuff that she said about him before when he was supposed to be on her season, and that he consulted with Rachel as he was writing the book and what he included. So I wouldn't tell people that it gets so deep into the nitty gritty of what those two went through, but it definitely comes up and gives you a little bit more insight into what Matt at least was feeling when the controversy with Rachel was happening and, how he first learned of the photos and everything like that. So another couple that crazy to see they're still together, but seemingly just so happy and good for each other. It's
so happy. And I really enjoy their Instagram stories together because they're just always eating and just always traveling.
They live a great life.
They really do. And they seem to genuinely really like each other, and that this relationship is kind of defied the odds. And they if they can go through what they've been through, I'm sure that they are going to last a very long time.
I agree. Totally.
Yeah, totally. All right. Sarah, who's on the podcast this week?
This week, you will hear from Tammy, also from season 7 of Bachelor in Paradise. And Tammy, she doesn't hold back when she talks about anything. So definitely tune in to get her side of everything that went down in Paradise, where she stands with Thomas, with Aaron, the franchise after she posted that video, kind of breaking up with the franchise. Lots there.
Oh God, I forgot about Aaron. Oh my God.
Right?
Right. All right. Well, definitely make sure to take a listen to that. Everybody keep commenting, keep subscribing, and we will see you guys next week for lots more Bachelor news.
Bye.
Bye.